In 2018, South Dakota updated its graduation requirements for the first time in a decade. The new policies also came with a change in federal law that could mean thousands of special education students will no longer be able to earn a high school diploma. School districts had until this year to implement the new requirements. In tonight's KELOLAND News investigation, Angela Kennecke talks with parents and those in the special education field to find out how this could impact the lives of people with learning disabilities for years to come. She also tries to get answers from the South Dakota Department of Education on why some students may be prohibited from ever being able to achieve a high school diploma.
It's a rite of passage for both students and their proud parents, crossing the stage to receive a high school diploma. But for many students in special education in South Dakota, a high school diploma may be out of reach.
By not allowing kids who are in special education necessarily to receive a diploma, we're taking something away from them that they've been able to attain for years.
Kent Alberty's term as Sioux Falls School Board president ended in 2019. But as the father of a child with special needs and previous owner of a staffing agency, he has been an outspoken critic of revisions made by the state to meet federal requirements.
It doesn't seem on the surface like a big deal. You get the certificate of completion as opposed to the high school diploma. Maybe doesn't sound like a big thing, but it is.
13-year-old Braden Corey, who has Down syndrome, made the O'Gorman Junior High basketball team. While his school is able to make sure he is included in every way possible, by law, he may not qualify for a high school diploma when the time comes.
Is it important to you that Braden get a diploma?
Yeah, it's really important to me that he gets a diploma. I mean, he's done the, put him in the same amount of effort, perhaps really, in all honesty, probably more effort than a lot of these kids to achieve what he can achieve. But is it unfair? Is it from a lack of understanding? Is it from a place of lacking compassion, perhaps? Yeah, I think that for sure is true.
We have students that have significant needs, and those students, just like every other student, are supposed to be held to the same educational standards for growth and development. And a logical outcome of the work that we do in schools is to achieve a diploma.
Michelle Powers is not only a special education professor at Augustana University, she is also the mother of a special needs daughter. 16-year-old Delaney has autism and is planning to graduate.
I think for her, she wants it because she knows that's what everybody else does, and it's part of a rite of passage in some ways. She understands it's not guaranteed to her to get a diploma. She has to work for it. We know that too. She's as worthy of earning a diploma as anyone.
The main issue facing students with disabilities is whether they need an accommodation for a class required for graduation or a modification. While the terms may sometimes be used interchangeably, they are not the same.
Under the new graduation requirements, if you've had to have a course modified where the content that is being taught is different, that can't be counted towards high school graduation requirements.
Carla Miller from the South Dakota Parent Connection is trying to make sure parents are aware of the changes so they can make the best decisions for their child's future.
Is it pretty common for special ed students to get a modification?
It can be common, yes. And one of the things that we are finding is that parents don't really understand the difference between a modification and accommodation. And so when we ask, which is your child receiving, they don't know.
Depending on a student's disability, sometimes modifications to curriculum cannot be avoided, which has parents concerned.
I mean, in a lot of classes, he's in the same class as his classmates, but when you get into math and you get into science and the more technical topics, then yes, he does. He has some modifications, and he needs those. I mean, and he's still learning at the rate that he can learn at, of course. But yeah, he has some modifications.
Special education experts say it's important for parents and their children's educators to start planning for high school earlier than ever.
My main concern is, A, do families know about this new set of requirements that are now being fully implemented this year? And B, are they open to every individual with a disability? And are they all going to be having the potential of completing a diploma?
While the South Dakota Department of Education has revised regular educational standards, Powers says that is not the case for alternate educational standards.
every student, whether you're a student with a disability or not, is supposed to be working towards those standards. So if your standards aren't aligned, meaning you have these alternate standards, your regular standards are here, your alternate standards are here. If we're not aligned, then I'm not working towards the same thing that everybody else is. And we don't have that right now.
We repeatedly asked the South Dakota Department of Education for an on-camera interview on these issues, which impact some 22,000 special ed students statewide. Instead, the department issued us a statement saying modifications may negatively impact a student's ability to receive a diploma. While some states offer more than one diploma, South Dakota does not. Students with disabilities who require modifications to curriculum may end up with a certificate of completion from their school instead.
Words matter, and when you talk about diploma compared to certificate of completion, that doesn't sound like a big deal. But it's a lifetime of change for someone who already has had struggle, and that struggle's not been their fault. So why should we put up one more roadblock that is going to make things more difficult for them? It just shouldn't happen.
You don't realize how hard these kids work. And yes, maybe you can say that a normal curriculum's here and their curriculum's here, but for them, it is no less impactful, it's no less challenging, it's no less work, and there's no less sense of accomplishment when they get there.
We've taken a deep dive into the special education issues facing the state with new educational standards now being implemented. We talked to the special ed directors in the state on how it affects students. You can find that story on KETHERLAND.com right now.